The quality has gone south. These 4 words, delivered with the sharp finality of a judge's gavel, have sent shockwaves through the global anime and manga community. This wasn't a whisper in a dark corner or a bitter post on a forum. This was a public declaration, a brutal assessment aimed squarely at a cultural behemoth, the undisputed king of modern shonen, One Piece. And the man who dared to utter them? None other than Kazuhiko Torishima, the legendary, almost mythical editor who stood beside Eiichiro Toriyama and helped forge Dragon Ball into the global phenomenon that defined a generation. A titan has spoken, and he is not impressed. That's right, the architect behind one of the greatest success stories in entertainment history has openly stated that Eiichiro Oda's masterpiece, the franchise that has sold over 500 million copies and captured the hearts of millions, is fundamentally flawed. In a bombshell interview given at the Japan Expo in France, Torishima didn't just offer a passing critique. He methodically detailed his long-standing creative disagreements with Oda and condemned the beloved series for possessing technical shortcomings that curtail its true potential. This raises a cascade of startling questions. What on earth could be happening behind the scenes? Is this a simple case of an old guard veteran unable to appreciate the new school of art? Or is a founding father of modern shonen, a man with an almost supernatural eye for what makes a story work, seeing a catastrophic flaw in the Straw Hat Saga that millions of devoted fans have simply overlooked? In this comprehensive deep dive, we are going to meticulously unpack every single explosive detail of Torishima's history-making interview. We will thoroughly explore the specific, granular reasons why the man who helped build Dragon Ball's world now believes One Piece is too convoluted and has critically lost its narrative way. We will pull back the curtain on the untold story of his early formative clashes with a determined young Eiichiro Oda, clashes that set the stage for this present-day conflict. We'll examine his most shocking claim, that Oda's current editor has effectively surrendered, giving the creator unchecked power. And finally, we will weigh this legendary critique against the overwhelming, undeniable, globe-conquering success of Luffy and his crew, forcing us to ask the ultimate question. Has Eiichiro Oda truly broken the sacred rules of manga? Or has he simply and brilliantly rewritten the entire rulebook for a new, more sophisticated era? This is nothing less than a battle for the very soul of shonen manga, and it is unfolding before our very eyes. Before we can even begin to dissect the piercing criticism, it is absolutely essential to comprehend the sheer weight and authority behind the man delivering it. Kazuhiko Torishima is not just some random industry insider or a forgotten name from the past. He is, without exaggeration, manga royalty. He is a living legend whose influence is woven into the very fabric of shonen history. As a young, ambitious editor at Shueisha's powerhouse publication, Weekly Shonen Jump, Torishima was assigned to a uniquely talented but still developing artist named Akira Toriyama. It was Torishima who saw the diamond in the rough. He was the demanding mentor who famously pushed Toriyama beyond his comfort zone of gag manga, the one who relentlessly rejected early drafts and provided the critical feedback that steered him towards the creation of the world-altering saga that is Dragon Ball. His editorial style was so famously severe and impactful that Toriyama, in a move of playful revenge, immortalized him as the villainous Dr. Masahiro in his earlier smash hit, Dr. Slump. This is a man whose instincts have generated billions of dollars. His career didn't peak there. He ascended to the pinnacle of the industry, serving as the editor-in-chief of Weekly Shonen Jump from 1996 to 2001. This period is crucial because it was the exact window when a rookie named Eiichiro Oda was launching his ambitious pirate story. Torishima was the gatekeeper. So when a man with this unparalleled resume, this deep and intimate knowledge of what makes a shonen story resonate, declares that there is a fundamental problem with the biggest manga on the planet, the entire industry has no choice but to stop and listen. His words carry the weight of history. So what is the precise nature of Torishima's grievance? What is the fatal flaw he perceives in this global sensation? According to the transcripts of his revealing interview, his entire argument can be distilled down to a single, powerful concept: complexity. He stated with unambiguous clarity that he finds the overarching plot of One Piece to be excessively heavy. In his professional opinion, the narrative does not unfold in a manner that is accessible or easily digestible for its intended audience, particularly the younger generation that has historically been the bedrock of Shonen Jump's readership. He powerfully emphasized a core tenet of his editorial philosophy. Shonen Jump publications were engineered for immediacy. They were meant to be picked up, instantly understood, and capable of generating excitement for the next week's chapter on a single, uncomplicated read. Torishima views Oda's sprawling, densely layered, and intricately interwoven narrative, with its decades of meticulous foreshadowing, its labyrinthine political plots, and its absolutely colossal cast of characters, as a radical and detrimental departure from this time-tested, wildly successful formula. And this is no recent revelation for him. He disclosed that he was fundamentally at odds with Eiichiro Oda over this very point before the first chapter of One Piece ever went to print. He recounted engaging in lengthy, intense debates with the young, headstrong creator about the nature of his world of pirates, treasure, and dreams of freedom, strongly advising him to streamline his story and simplify his approach. But Eiichiro Oda, in an act of immense creative courage, or youthful hubris depending on your perspective, refused to yield. He staunchly defended his vision, declined to follow the advice of the seasoned editor, and propelled his complex creation forward, a decision that, in Torishima's seasoned eyes, planted the very seeds of the story's current alleged structural weaknesses. This is the point where Kazuhiko Torishima's critique transcends mere artistic disagreement and evolves into a profound and scathing indictment of the modern editorial process at the heart of the manga industry, specifically concerning One Piece. He confesses with a tone of clear disappointment that while he initially found the characters in Oda's work to be fun, and even believed the story was improving in its early days, he now firmly maintains his original stance, lamenting that the series has progressively eroded over its long run. The blame for this decline, he argues, falls squarely and heavily upon the shoulders of One Piece's current editor. In the world Torishima helped build, the editor is the sacred guardian of quality, the unwavering bulwark against creative excess. They are the final arbiter, the objective third eye whose solemn duty is to challenge, guide, and, if necessary, steer the manga artist, the mangaka, back onto the correct path if their work becomes self-indulgent or narratively unsound. An editor's most crucial function is to say no, to force a creator to refine their ideas and achieve a higher level of excellence. However, according to Torishima, a catastrophic role reversal has occurred with One Piece. He openly admonishes the current editor, claiming they have been completely won over by Oda's fame and influence. In his stark portrayal, Eiichiro Oda now wields unrestrained control over his story, and the one individual tasked with providing essential checks and balances has effectively abandoned their post. This paints a dramatic picture of a creative king reigning from a throne without advisors, meticulously crafting an epic that has, in Torishima's expert opinion, grown too monumental and unwieldy for its own narrative health. This is a foundational clash of creative philosophies, the traditional view of the editor as a firm guiding hand versus the modern reality of the editor as a mere facilitator for a certified genius's untamed, sprawling vision. If you find this peek behind the curtain at the raw power dynamics of the manga world as electrifying as we do, please take a moment to hit that like button. It's a huge help and tells us you appreciate these deeper industry stories. Now, from Kazuhiko Torishima's highly structured, disciplined, and classical point of view, Eiichiro Oda's magnum opus is a deeply flawed creation. It is a powerful, cogent argument delivered by a man who knows the business of making hits better than almost anyone alive. There is just one colossal, glaring problem with his meticulous assessment: the stubborn, overwhelming force of reality. Because while Torishima eloquently critiques the series' structural integrity, One Piece stands as, by every single quantifiable metric, one of the most successful entertainment properties ever conceived by humankind. Let's be clear about the scale we are discussing. This is a franchise that has sold well over 500 million manga copies across the globe. This is not merely a sales record. It is a staggering figure that places it in an elite class of printed works, rivaling the circulation of religious texts and foundational political documents. The anime is a certified global institution, a weekly appointment for millions, with, as of this writing, an almost unbelievable 1,136 episodes produced, with no end in sight. It has spawned a live-action adaptation on Netflix that defied all expectations, achieving the holy grail of being both a critical and a commercial success, a monumental feat where countless other beloved anime have crashed and burned. As if to triple down on its cultural dominance, a full-scale, high-budget remake of the entire anime series is now in production, tantalizingly titled The One Piece, which promises to reanimate Luffy's entire journey with state-of-the-art production values for a new generation. The manga sales continue to climb. The brand's reach continues to expand into every corner of the market. The passionate global fanbase continues to grow exponentially. Every single piece of empirical data, every sales chart, every viewership metric flatly and loudly contradicts the notion that the series is failing or that its quality has gone south. Oda's monumental success doesn't just present a counter-argument to Torishima's opinions, it roars in the face of them with the force of a conqueror's haki. So how can we possibly reconcile these two diametrically opposed realities? On one hand, we have a legendary editor's articulate and logically sound structural criticisms. On the other, we have a story that enjoys a level of undeniable, world-conquering domination that borders on the surreal. The key to unlocking this paradox might lie buried within the very foundation of Torishima's argument, his definition of the target audience. He operates from the historical premise that shonen manga is for young boys and therefore must adhere to principles of simplicity and directness. But is that foundational truth still unshakable in the 21st century? It is entirely possible that Eiichiro Oda is proving Torishima wrong, not by outplaying him at his own established game, but by inventing and mastering an entirely new one. The audience for shonen manga and anime today is no longer a monolith of Japanese schoolboys. It is a vast, interconnected, and highly diverse global community spanning all ages, genders, and cultural backgrounds. A significant portion of the One Piece fanbase consists of adults who began reading the manga in their teens and are now navigating their 30s and 40s, having literally grown up alongside Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. For this enormous, fiercely loyal, and intellectually mature audience, the very complexity that Torishima derides is not a technical shortcoming. It is, in fact, the franchise's single greatest strength. It is the intricate, meticulously planned world building, the tantalizing long-term mysteries that spark thousands of theory videos, the nuanced political intrigue of the world government and the revolutionaries, and the sheer, unadulterated narrative ambition that keeps them profoundly invested, not just week to week, but year after year and decade after decade. In this modern context, Oda isn't just writing a weekly comic strip. He is carefully weaving a modern epic, a sprawling mythology that deeply rewards dedication and long-term intellectual engagement. Viewed through this lens, Torishima's plea for a simpler, more easily digestible story almost feels like a nostalgic echo from a bygone era of media consumption. Perhaps Oda didn't fail to adhere to the shonen formula. Perhaps he shattered its limitations and evolved it into something far grander for a new, more demanding global age. And so, we find ourselves standing at a fascinating and pivotal crossroads in the grand history of manga. On one side of this divide stands Kazuhiko Torishima, a titan of the industry, a living embodiment of the old guard. He represents a philosophy of disciplined, editor-centric creation, one that champions a clear, concise narrative designed for a specific youthful audience. His perspective is not to be dismissed. It is forged from a formula that produced some of the most iconic and beloved stories ever told, with Dragon Ball as its crowning achievement. On the other side stands Eiichiro Oda, the new king, a creative force whose seemingly unrestrained freedom has resulted in a complex, meandering, yet beautiful epic that has achieved a tier of commercial and cultural success that was previously unimaginable. He represents a new paradigm, one where the creator's singular vision, no matter how intricate or unconventional, takes absolute precedence, trusting that the audience will follow, not for a fleeting moment of entertainment, but for a shared, lifelong journey. Has Oda's unprecedented success rendered the old rules of manga obsolete? Or does Torishima, with his decades of experience, possess a wisdom that sees a future where this grand, unrestrained narrative ultimately collapses under its own immense weight? It is a profound debate about the nature of art, the pressures of commerce, and the very definition of a storytelling genre. What is your take on this epic clash? Is Kazuhiko Torishima a visionary veteran warning of a coming disaster? Or is he a legend stuck in the past, unable to fully grasp the magnificent new shape of modern storytelling? We are eager to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you crave more deep dives into the controversies, triumphs, and defining moments of the anime and manga universe, make sure you are subscribed and have clicked that notification bell. For now, the battle of titans and their philosophies continues to rage, and as devoted fans, we have the incredible privilege of a front row seat to watch it all unfold.